It can be true of any industry, but I feel there is a massive disconnect in what barbers are delivering versus what people actually want. Now, it's not my style to be indulging myself in criticizing the industry or pointing out what other people are doing wrong. It's more about spotting an opportunity or a gap and offering your solution and position yourself in an industry in a certain way. Now, there are tens of these things that I can point out in maybe service or skill, both areas, but we're going to leave them for a later video. And I'll just lead with just one example: hairline. Hairline is one of the best example of the disconnect between what the industry think people want or the industry is obsessed with and what people actually want. Now, the industry is convinced that everyone wants extremely straight, highly enhanced, almost outlined hairlines that are glaringly obvious and manicured. But the reality is, an average person, I'm sure there's a client who's just as obsessed and just take that one dimension of the haircut as the core of the whole service and think that's it. As long as the hairline is straight, I don't care about anything else. And in order to achieve those hairlines, often like there's a cost and trade-off of losing and going so much further back into someone's hairline that now they look like they're receding even more than they are. Now, I can guarantee you, majority of people do not want to look like they are receding. Even if they are receding, they want to do all sorts of things to cover the fact that they are. So they want to cover up those parts and want to use some sort of optical illusion to mask it or make it look like as if it's naturally low sitting, which is, understandable. And they definitely don't want to draw more attention to it. They don't want to make it so glaringly obviously straight that everyone just looks at that spot that they are insecure about. So I'm also convinced that most people don't want to look like as if they weren't born but machined into existence. They don't want to look that. They don't want to look that straight and perfect. Most of them. And similar thing with the beards. I think people always choose a appropriately sitting beard line rather than a really low sitting enhanced or extremely straight beard line. In fact, most people will request, can you not push my hairline back? And they almost plead with you as if they had some experience where the barber almost pushed it or superimposed that hairline style on them because they didn't even want to actually push the hairline. They just wanted a normal, natural looking hairline, or they didn't want it as pushed back as they got. Same thing with the beard line. They will tell you that they want to grow it back or they want to keep the line as high as possible. What they really mean is they want it somewhere appropriate where it suits their face, which is, very fine line when you're working in this area. So if you look at this part, it's a buccal fat area. This is called buccal fat. And if in this area, you go even a millimeter low and you make a more rounding shape, you can make someone look 3 to 5 kilos fatter. Now, most people, I don't think they care enough about something being straight and enhanced if you're making them look fatter, older, and balder. See what I mean? So there's a massive thing to be exploited here. Now, I know some people are going to get upset by me pointing this out, but if you go on Instagram, it's really about those particular clients who may be obsessed with the hairlines, but it's not about 90-something% of the people who, in my experience, are much more high value clients who are looking for more natural hairlines and they're more, or who are trying to hide the receding hairlines. If you can fix that for them, they'll be almost forced to come back to you because they don't want to explain these things to another person. So it's really easy. It takes just as much effort to learn a skill to make hairlines look natural, lower, and something that suits someone's face and make them look a bit younger and less receding than to make it really, really straight and enhance them to a point where it takes so much attention away from rest of it. Now it's a nice way to showcase one dimension of your skill, but and you should be able to do that. But long term, these people when they live with these haircuts, when they go home and they look at themselves in the mirror, it is making them look a bit more fatter, balder, or look like they're more receding. So it's not unreasonable to think that these people may just want to look good and they don't care about you showcasing your skills on making the hairline really, really straight. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Maybe let me know in the comments. I think a lot of you guys are going to agree with me, and a lot of you probably have had similar experiences. But if you disagree, also let me know. It's just my opinion.